Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Mystic Alchemy. So I have something on my mind that I want to talk about. I was just thinking about how in church there's so much fear mongering, and the initial thought that I had was the continuance of the statement, "You're going to go to hell," right? And I don't know, it was just a thought. It just came over my mind. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought of how unrealistic that statement is in the context that is delivered to the people. Because just to say that to someone is very frightening. It can scare people, it can make them feel like their life is over and they didn't even get a chance to really go through enough to learn from mistakes. And it also doesn't give people the ability to find, how can I say what I'm thinking? Like find understanding in the mistakes that they've made and the journey that they have taken. It takes away the experience to understand it and what it's all about. Like, what is the purpose of going through all of the experiences that were challenging in your life? And all of the challenges are really lessons. However, when you're going through it, it's very difficult. It can make someone want to give up and fold, throw in a towel, however you want to say. But it really does affect so many people. And when so many people walk on this journey, it's very often that some don't make it out with understanding. They just get stuck in the same cycle of chaos due to their decisions and their way of thinking that has been embedded within them. So they'll continue to do the same things that harm them, if not worse, over and over again. And many times I just feel like that's because they're either so deep into being stuck in a pattern, finding comfort in the pattern, that they have no desire to step out of the cycle, or it is that one person that could show up and show them a different way, for whatever reason, they never had the chance to meet them. Or if the person that God sent to help them did come through, they didn't want to listen to them. So it's really one of the three. There could be more, but those are just the first three that come to mind. So to just say someone is going to go to hell when the decisions that one makes is what brings us to a state of what can be considered hell or hellish. It's all in your, I don't want to say just experiences, but more so your decisions and your ideas of yourself and your environment. Are you thinking from a place of growth or feeling as though you can't do anything about the situation? I feel like that's the difference. If you have a growth mindset, you're always going to know that even if you're going through something that's difficult, it's only temporary. And I know for myself, that's something that I used during difficult times. I always thought, like, it's just temporary. It's not going to last forever. And this is just a phase that I must experience on this journey. because this is my journey, right? And sometimes things can be so challenging that I could see why it would make people want to give up. The thing is that experience is meant to strengthen you. You're meant to learn from it. That's the whole point of life. Life is a school. So I really feel like to fearmonger when in church they say you're going to go to hell if you do this, if you do that, and it's so rigid. That's not real. That's not a real way to show someone the way to a better state of living, a better state of thinking, a better state of being. That's just a way to push fear into someone's heart. And once someone is in fear, they become, what's the word I want to use? Once someone is in fear, they become frozen. Also like a deer stuck in the headlights, just stuck. Then I heard stage fright. What's the other thing I heard? Shocked. Okay, like when someone is in complete fear, something could be coming towards them where if they're shocked, they're not going to be able to react or respond. They're just so scared that they just cannot move. I don't know, maybe some of you have felt that before, or maybe you've seen it in a show or a movie or somewhere in the world. But it's that moment of shock where I'm just envisioning someone staring in fear with their eyes wide open, and their eyes are getting watery, and they're about to cry, but they're not crying yet. But the face is more so shocked and surprised than sad, And then they're just frozen. There's no love in those words. If you truly want, I should say, to help your brother and sister. There is no love in putting fear in someone's heart. That shows no love at all. It's more like what should be done and what makes sense to me, at least. And you could add on to this if you want to in the comments. But it's more so instilling courage or courage. I almost said courageousness. But instilling courage in your brother and sister. Explaining to them that they are supposed to be bold. That's who we are. That's who we're meant to be. So to just place so much fear on so many souls before they even get through a thing is like, it makes people fight themselves. It makes people fight. Like, imagine a young person going to church and hearing that and becoming so fearful that they're very careful with what they do and don't do. I mean, I really think it depends on the delivery, because if you teach a child morals and ethics and what is right and what is wrong from a basis of just morals and ethics, instead of putting fear in their heart, mentioning that if they do such things, they're going to go to hell, it makes a big difference in how they move, because life is experimentation. It is an experience. And that's why many times when we grow, even if we know that we're not supposed to do something, we end up doing it anyway, because it's like our psyche just wants to experience. And through the experience, no matter if what you experience is wrong or right, you then want to well, the goal is to gauge what's best for you and what's not best for you, dependent on the experience that you had. It's just that some people have trouble discerning good and bad, or good or bad. Or good and bad. I think it's better to say good and bad. At least for themselves. I know that there's really no good and bad, but I should say favorable or less favorable situations. But through experience, that's the only way you truly know for yourself what's good for you and what's not good for you. Through experience is the only way that you'll know if what someone taught you was right or not. In the beginning stages, you're just trying to figure things out. So it's very unlikely that you're going to know what to do in the very beginning. How would you know if you're not actually taught properly? How would you really know? You wouldn't. And then it makes it even more difficult when you're misled and being taught information that is misleading you. And then I feel like it's even more difficult because you have to not only find what the best option is for you to take, but then you also have to unravel the lies that you've learned from your experience of people teaching you and you watching your environment and soaking up the environment and the ways of the environment. Then you have to take time to unravel that before you even get to a place of understanding. So to tell someone that they're going to go to hell, it really takes away the experience to know right from wrong and understand that the experience is needed to get to understanding the darkness, understanding decisions that are unfavorable in one's life. If you don't go through anything, you will never know. In some way, you kind of know when you observe someone else's life. However, when it's your life and it's like hands-on, you have a better understanding because you went through it. And things just click and they just make sense. And when you learn from your experience and you dissect your experience and you analyze everything and you mine it and you make sense of every little detail and you give it a title, you begin to truly mind your own life, like mind your own business. Literally, mind your own business. When you do that, you begin to understand who you are as a person and what you believe and what matters to you. And you'll see everything. You'll see the mistakes that weren't best for you to make. But then you give yourself grace and you don't, beat yourself up about it. You recognize that wasn't really the right thing. And I know that now. And I appreciate the experience because now I know better. So I'm going to do better. Right? And I just feel like to just say someone is going to go to hell, without giving any other ramifications that are accurate, it's just not fair. It just causes fear. Now, if you break it down, if there's a breakdown in between there, then it would make sense. Because you must tell the person that the only way you end up in hell, well, sometimes, because sometimes people are born into really rough conditions and circumstances, so they don't even get a chance to make a choice at that point. And I just feel like that's a karmic cycle that follows us, and then we have to work our way out of it. It's just really rough when it's a little tiny person, like a child, which many children are born into really messed up situations. But aside from those extreme situations, what about those that have more of a chance of understanding earlier on, and they have that time to make mistakes and have experiences, and then they choose as to what would be a better option, and they make mistakes. If those mistakes were laid out before them, and it was expressed to them how certain things that are done can affect them. See, this is the breakdown I'm talking about. Like, if you're going to mention anything about hell, don't forget to mention that you as a person, dependent on your decisions, cause hell in your life. I think it's just important to break it down, and it's not broken down enough. People have a tendency to point fingers, and they don't take accountability. And I feel like just telling someone that they're going to go to hell, it would make someone not want to take accountability, because they'll feel like they already failed before they even got anywhere. Because through the experience and your psyche just wanting to explore, to understand its environment, just like a child. When a child comes into this world, everything's new, beautiful, and wonderful, so they want to explore it. And they make mistakes, they hurt themselves, they fall, they bump their head, they scratch their knees. It's the same thing with adults. We just become adults and we go through it. And things just get more explicit. And, I'll just say it gets more explicit. I think that's a good way to say it. Because I feel like that word really is an umbrella for all that we know. When it comes to alcohol, drugs, and sex, explicit. Yeah, that's a good word. So, it's the experience. It's the experience that molds us. It's understanding the experience. And I just really feel, and I truly believe that if the different experiences and the circumstances that could cause such experiences, as well as the results, like various results that could take place from the experiences or from the choices that are made or the decisions, it's almost like, how can I say what I'm thinking? Hold on. It's like quantum decision making. That is what I'm talking about. And that is something that's not, I don't know. I don't even know if that's a thing. I don't think so. Let's see. I'm going to look it up real quick. Quantum decision making. That is a whole course, okay? Because I'm just thinking about all the times where I've heard young people say, I didn't know. And they just do adult things not knowing what the possible results could be. And if we could just go ahead and begin to show the children quantum decision making. Oh, it is a thing. Let's see what it means here, because maybe how I'm thinking about it is different from what this Google meaning is. But it says quantum decision making refers to applying the mathematical framework of quantum mechanics to model human and artificial decision making processes, particularly in situations involving uncertainty, and cognitive biases. It suggests that decisions are not purely based on rationale, utility, maximization, but also incorporate subjective factors and interference effects akin to quantum interference in physics. Okay, so yeah, it does touch base on how I'm thinking, because I feel like quantum decision making is a class in and of itself. That's a course. That is a course that would help many people with their analytical thought and decision making skills. I feel like there's something else there that I'm missing. It also strengthens cognitive ability, I feel. It's going to strengthen cognition because it's like an exercise. It would make the children think about what they do before they do it. Because I think impulse mixed with peer pressure and wanting to be accepted can cause any young person or older person, it just depends on their mind's condition, their state of mind, what decision they will make and how they would move accordingly. But quantum decision making, that is what's needed, because it would really have people thinking about what they do before they do it and how whatever they do will affect them. It'll make people stop for a minute and think before they move, before they respond. And then that way people will be less likely to react so quickly instead of taking time to respond. I think less fatalities would happen, just less tragedies, less mistakes, and it would build confidence in the people. It would build confidence and relieve stress, because when difficult situations or challenging situations come up, they would be more likely to feel a sense of confidence, because it's like, when you go over a certain way of doing something and you know how to handle it, even if it's a framework on how to make decisions, you're more confident in it, and you don't feel like you have to hurry up and do something. You don't feel rushed. You feel more calm about it, just because you've talked about it before, you've heard about it. And then ego also gets in the way when you don't really have an understanding, when you never learned about all of these various possibilities that could take place when certain actions are taken or certain words are said or what have you. But it's really just about the quantum decision making and expressing that hell is in the mind, heaven is in the mind, and that the vessel, the person that has the vessel and the psyche, is the one that controls the state of consciousness. We maintain our own cognition and our grooming. We have to groom our own mind. We have to groom our subconscious mind and in our conscious mind as well. We have to groom ourselves. You know, when I think of grooming, I think of trimming, keeping neat, you know, keeping things in order, make it look pretty, suitable. So if we did that to our thoughts, then it's less likely that so many people would be so confused. So many different thoughts that are not your own in your mind. Then you can't really find your own. So that means you're just taking in so much and there's no grooming. And having the knowledge and the lessons instilled in a person from learning about quantum decision making would really help in these times. And it would really help people to see the truth, because a person can either have a consciousness of living in hell, or they could create a world of heaven on earth. It's just all in the mind, though. So that's why it's so misleading to tell a person, oh, you're going to hell. There's so much more that you're not saying. And it just puts fear in those that we are meant to love. You don't love somebody when you tell them that. You hate them. However, those who say that, they're so deep into being lost that they don't even recognize that they're not helping the people, they're hurting the people. But yeah, I think that's it for this message. That's all I really want to say. It was just on my mind. It's one of these thoughts that come to me when they do randomly. And I just felt that someone needs to hear it. Drop a comment down below. Let me know how this message has reached you. Everything you do, do it with love. I'll see you in the next message.